had no idea the undertaking I was going to take on by doing this project. I thought it was gonna be a lot simpler than it was. It turned out it wasn't. And it turns out that I had to learn a lot more skills that I didn't know that I needed, which is awesome in one way, but it did extend the series a little bit further. And I think today is the day that we take all of this apart. It looks so good, we've come so far. So that's where we're gonna start. We're gonna start by putting a lot of man hours into welding this chassis up. That way we can drive this thing sooner than later. Now when I say everything has to come apart for this thing to be welded, I mean everything. All the A-arms, all the suspension, the seat, the engine, the rear diff, everything's gotta come apart. On the plus side, I have the axles and I'm getting the drive shaft made now, so it seems like we might be able to drive this thing sooner than later. Excited, but not excited to weld it up. So let's start there. Well, here goes nothing. Here's to the next 2 days of my life welding this chassis up. I have to be assured of a couple things. I don't want to spend too much time in one spot because then you like pull on the cage because it shrinks when you do weld. So first things first, I'm gonna go around, I'm gonna tack weld everything, make sure it's got enough tack welds that it doesn't want to try and like pull itself apart. And then I'm gonna weld it, which is gonna take a long time. Wish me luck. 1 hour in, we have the top of the main hoop done. So basically everything here, everything there, everything down there, all on the top side. I still need to flip it over and get the bottom side, but it's going a lot slower than I thought it was gonna be. We're gonna get this done. Three hours in so far. Everything on the outside from here back is done, and then we gotta do the inside of all of it still. But I'm gonna move forward. I'm gonna keep moving forward. We ran out of argon, we don't have a truck, and we gotta get this bottle filled, but we don't have a problem. Yep. That's a little tiny trailer connected to a Hellcat. Drop that down now. Yep, that's how we doing it. Huh? I think I'm like 6 hours into this now. Everywhere from here forward is welded. Now we just gotta do from here backwards. I wonder if I can lift this up and rotate it around. Go, part 2. Are you having relationship problems? Well, I can't help you there. In fact, I'm probably gonna do the complete opposite to you right now. I'm probably gonna make it worse because At True North Turbos, we're having a giant Black Friday sale right now. Everything on the website is at some sort of discount right now, including our giant turbochargers at True North Turbos, along with all our wastegates, blow-off valves, turbo blankets, turbo drains, everything that you need to turbo your car. You can go to blacksheepindustries.ca or the link down below. And the Black Friday sale is actually good through all of November, so make sure you get it in early because we are selling out of a lot of stuff real quick. No code needed, it's automatically put on there for you. Wow, I think we are actually done welding the frame, which is crazy to think this is like 8 hours non-stop welding. So I did it in increments of like 45 minutes to an hour, and it took me like 7 or 8 sessions. So it's a lot of welding. Looks like we got everything. This isn't the be all end all to the welding. There's still gonna be some sort of fabrication to happen, whether it's the shifter, new shock mounts, new bell crank, stuff like that. But the majority of the chassis is all welded together now, which means when we put the engine back in here, we shouldn't have to take it out again. Granted that we paint the chassis before we put everything back in it, and when we have to add stuff, we'll just grind down the paint in that area and then refix up the paint. In theory, that never works. Get that one last weld, and then I'm gonna try and build a floor for it, I think. Also, little sneak preview, that's a drive shaft. All right. The plan here is to take some of this aluminum metal we have here. Well, obviously aluminum is metal. But we're gonna take this, we're gonna try our best to build some sort of floor structure here. As you can see, everything here is basically flat, so if we can get a couple flat pieces along here, and then at the end, I'll do my best to make some sort of diffuser or something, but I'm not too worried about downforce on the floor. We'll use the wings, it'll be fine. We don't need to try and go above and beyond our skill level here, get a wind tunnel, try and make some ground effect car. We don't need that right now. Let's just try and plate it in. Machine screws, rib nuts, aluminum. Let's go. No idea how we're gonna do this, so I'm just gonna wing it. Two down, million to go. Wheel. Well, we've got it basically contoured to the body underneath. Kind of follows that lower bar there. I do want to roll it over the edge, so I don't know how I'm going to do that, but I did whack it here a couple times with a hammer to contour it to the frame, and I'm going to put one rib nut here, and then figure out how to trim the fat, basically. Sounds easier said than done, probably hard. However, if I just cut it off, basically flush with this bar right here, this one, it will stick down a little bit, but it'll also give me something to wrap the body onto and mount the body to. So maybe that's what I'll do. I'll draw a straight line on this bar right here, and I'll just cut that out on both sides, and then I'll have something to wrap the fiberglass body onto. Yeah! This is so much easier when the piece of metal is mounted. Trim. One side anyway. It'll look a lot better once this side's off, trust me. One piece of floor done. Far from perfect, but like I said before, the fiberglass is just gonna wrap around, and then this little strip that's overhanging a little bit here, that's what the fiberglass is going to mount into for the bodywork. So it all works out actually pretty good. Time to make the rest of the floor flat. We gotta put 2 more rib nuts here, and this big piece, you can cut that. basically, we'll leave the side pods as their own piece. We can do the rest of the floor down the middle. And then here, we should probably think about possibly making the metal go in this way and try and diffuse it out there, because I think the axles are here somewhere too. I don't know. We'll figure it out after. Ooh, shiny. Okay, so here's our floor and what it is for now. I'm gonna flip it over. I'm gonna start reassembling this thing. I was gonna paint it at first, but you know what? It's probably better that I don't paint it right now just to make sure it all functions right. Flip it back over. We'll start reassembling some stuff. I still have to weld up all the arms on all the corners of the wheels. I made a big mess. That aluminum really needs some like insulation tape on it because it vibrates a little bit. I love watching Formula One, and nothing excites me more than when they say power unit.
Power unit. Power unit. Power unit.
As in referring to the engine. So this is my Honda power unit. It's going back in. We're at the peak. I'm sure I took this out when the cart was on the floor and not on the stands. That's unfortunate. Oh my God. What I need to do is lower the front. Re-raise the front. Come on, we can get this. Almost there. Fucker! Ow, my poor finner. It was this middle one, but I'm not gonna put just the middle one up because they might get mad at me, but it's already like bruised like 20 minutes later. Anyways, we're gonna put the engine in. We're gonna get the diff in because I really wanna see if our drive shaft is gonna fit. Fun times. One of the factory engine bolts was actually hollow. So they're really trying to save weight on this thing, so we should probably try and save weight too, right? The other one's not hollow though, weird. You're so close to getting into your home, just do it already. Sprocket adapter, drive shaft. Okay, water pump's gotta come off. It appears our water pump down here has to come off in order to give us a straight shot with a drive shaft. You can see like this nipple right here is in the way, and then this little piece right there is in the way as well. So we're just gonna pull this off for testing purposes and then find a solution afterwards. It's like a shaft-mounted water pump too. Interesting, okay. There's actually no good angle to film this drive shaft, but let's just see if it fits. Oh God, it appears to fit. The adapter was made overseas, so there's a good chance that it's metric, which it is. It's an M8 bolt. So what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take all our front end components and our rear end components. These are not welded yet, so we're gonna weld all the heim joints, all the knuckles, and then we're gonna get it put back on the cart because I feel like the more things that we can get installed fully on the cart, the further it's gonna progress. And then we can figure out some of our issues like the push rod suspension in the rear and whatever. Just get everything off the floor, get it welded, get it closer to final assembly, and we'll move on from there. So, bunch more welding on the control arms, unfortunately, but at least it'll be done. Yeah.
You excited about it, aren't you?
I really know how to make like 5 or 6 hours worth of work look like a lot of fun in 30 seconds. I'm gonna weld and install things as I weld them. So The heim joints have to come out of here in order to weld it so you don't ruin the heim joints, and then reassemble it, put it back on the cart.
Your fingers seem to be fine at the moment.
This one is not fine. Like, look how swollen it is. So I gotta spend the next couple hours out here, and Gina is probably gonna spend the next couple hours inside playing Fortnite on Twitch. So one of us is having a good time, one of us is having a great time.
Which one do you think is which?
Obviously, I'm having a great time.
You're having a great time.
I should put an anti-intrusion bar on this one, but I don't know where the, and by anti-intrusion bar, I mean this bar right here, which means if something does break on the cart, this can't jam into the chassis because this bar is right here across. The bar sits like this, and if it ever tried to go like in and hit your feet or whatever, that anti-intrusion bar is gonna hit this and the whole arm is just gonna... We got our pedals put in place. I did buy all the cylinders. I got the 2 brake ones and the clutch one. Those can be put on after and start building brake lines. We want to get everything off the floor first, so we're gonna take off these arms, weld these arms up, put those on the back. And while I was in the back, we actually added some better bolts to the diff. So 3 bolts on the diff instead of 2. I actually moved the diff position slightly. I'll have to get proper sized bolts, but I put 2 on this side, 1 on this side, because it actually torques this way. So if you spin the drive shaft this way, the wheels are going forward, which means the diff wants to torque that way, which means this mount is gonna help with the torquing. And I think with the diff, I wanna clean this out and I wanna weld this whole piece to the diff as well. So got a little bit more work to do on the diff. Still have to figure out a solution for our clutch here, how we're gonna push this clutch rod in. I haven't really thought about that much. Trying to pick away at little things. It seems like as we add more things, you gotta like re-engineer stuff again, because once we added the drive shaft in, the water pump no longer fits, so I have to modify that, like I mentioned before. But it's just little things like that where I get a couple steps forward and I'm like, oh shit, now I gotta go backwards. I did buy another steering rack also, not able to use it. What I really need made is some rack spacers for this one. They're really small bolts. Strong.
So strong.
Strong. Just gotta weld it now. I keep thinking to myself, like, what if this cart doesn't do like good? Like, what if it just sucks? But then I'm like, well, then I can just fix it after. But as long as we get it up and running, you won't ever know unless you drive it. So the priority's got to be like, get it done, and then figure out why it sucks, and then fix it. And this is how far we are with our formula car. Obviously stuff has changed in the garage because we have a lift now, which is super amazing. Super stoked about it. I made a video about it on my second channel, which is Kyle Williams. I'll leave the link down below as well. It's gonna be a lot more behind the scenes stuff now that I'm trying to introduce like bigger, better videos to the main channel. And I don't really want to mess up the algorithm of the main channel, so we made a second channel, which if you want to see more videos, they're over there. Everything is welded up. We've got a little more tidying to do in the garage here. I feel like we're at a point now where like, oh, I'm over that hurdle. And we have the last little bit just to continue on, and it's gonna be a lot smooth sailing from here. I'm gonna do what I need to do by reorganizing the whole garage now because I had to make room for the lift. Get back working on this thing once you have some space, and I'm gonna be tinkering with this thing too. And I'll make a combination of videos for this channel and the second channel, and it's gonna be good. If you like the Formula Kart videos, you'll probably like these ones. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace easy, get that beat.